Hey there, I'm Selena Knight, the Retail Biz Strategist, and today I want to talk to you about something that will make you happy. I want to talk to you about 10 facts about retail that will hopefully put you in a great mood. Now, the media loves spreading doom and gloom when it comes to the economy and when it comes to retail. And if you're having a bad day, it's really easy to fall down that rabbit hole of despair and focus on anything negative that crosses your path. But a poor sales day does not have to equal a bad week, a bad month, or a bad year. It is time to focus on the positive. So here are 10 facts about retail that will instantly put you in a good mood. First up, it is in the mail. Haven't we all heard that one? Well, I did some research, and according to MailChimp, which is an email service provider that you use for your newsletters, if you have an e-commerce site, the industry average is a 16.75% open rate with a 2.32% click-through rate. Now, if you're in retail, the industry average is just under 21% open rate with a 2.5% click-through rate. Now, let's compare that to Facebook's current organic reach, which, depending on which studies you read, is somewhere between about 1 and 5%. Now, you can see that your email list is actually the most valuable piece of real estate. So which would you rather put your effort into? Content that's going to get in front of maybe 2 or 3% of your audience? Or content which is shown to get in front of around 15 to 20% of your audience? There you go. Number 2, according to Ecommerce, e-commerce is growing at 23% year over year, yet 46% of small businesses in America don't have a website. Now, hey Sal, that doesn't put me in a good mood, you're saying. Well, if you have a website, you will be smiling all the way to the bank because you have an advantage of over half of your potential competition. And if you don't have a website, I want you to smile in the knowledge that if you put in the time and, potentially a little bit of money to create one, you'll be attracting a lot more customers, and you will be one of that 54% that actually have a website and are doing business with it. Okay, so my number 3 fact that will hopefully make you smile is it is time to be Pinteresting. Now, most of us think of Pinterest when it comes to party inspiration, home decor, a bit of landscaping, but statistics show that 55% of US Pinterest users actually use it for finding products. So how can you use Pinterest to drive more people to your store and to your website? Something you need to think about. Now, number 4 of stats that will make you smile is that websites just aren't for e-commerce. Now, if you have a bricks and mortar shop front and you're constantly wondering whether it's worth the effort of having a web store, let me put your mind at ease and tell you that a whopping 81% of shoppers actually research their product online before purchasing. Now, that is a stat from the big boys, but I can tell you that I actually ran this test myself a couple of years ago. And in my own independent stores, we asked everybody who came in whether they had been to the website first before they come in store. And guess what? A whopping 73% said they had been to the website. So don't think that your website is just for selling. It is a catalog, it's a tool, it is actually advertising for your business. So if it's not converting to a lot of sales online, don't freak out, because there's a good chance that between 70 and 80% of the people who are coming into your store actually looked at it before they came. And maybe if you didn't have that, they wouldn't have come in at all. Okay, so number 5 in my stats to make you smile is don't overlook the oldies. Now, I remember when I thought 50 was old, not far off it now. Well, times have changed. 50 is the new 30, and that cashed up demographic media savvy. So if you sell to people in that 50 plus age range, you will be pleased to hear that the biggest growth of Facebook users is people over the age of 55. So make sure that you think about adding online advertising to your marketing mix if that is your target market. Okay, number 6, stats to make you smile. It is time to get personal. Now, one of the advantages of being an independent retailer is the ability to get to know your customers just as a statistic, like the big boys do. Now, by capturing relevant data and actually segmenting your customer list, not based on demographics though, we're talking about getting into what their preferences are, and you will be able to capture this data. You'll find that 53% of shoppers are actually more likely to come and spend more time with you and come back again and again if they feel that you understand them. So that's something that I'm always espousing. I always think this is the thing that you can do over the big boys. You can get personal. You can analyze what your customers are looking for, on the demographics, or how many kids they've got, or what they're buying. And when you put the time into place to actually start segmenting based on what people have bought and what they're likely to buy in the future, what you're targeting is actually targeting them personally. So they feel like the information you're sending is to them and not just to a group of people. Okay, number 7, it is time to be mobile. Mobile commerce grew leaps and bounds, tells Internet Retailer, and it accounted for a whopping 30% of all e-commerce in the US in 2015. Now that's a 5% increase from the year prior, and that was 2 years ago. So Mobile 500 merchants, so that's the big guys, they realized, not realized as in they understood, but they realized as in they made money, a 68.5% increase in visits in 2015. And that accounted for over 3 billion sessions on their websites. That is a lot of people seeing what you have to sell. Now, monthly unique visitors have grown from between 40 and 50% to over nearly 1 billion people. And we're talking about, so what's more, mobile app usage and downloads in 2015 increased 44% and generated an estimated $40 billion in revenue for mobile retailers. So that is something to make you smile. If your website is mobile friendly, there is a good chance that you are snatching a great big chunk of the market that your competitors are losing. Okay, number 8 on my stats to make you smile is, if you've been thinking about click and collect, you know, that where people buy online and they actually come in store, 1, it's great because you're not paying for shipping and they're not paying for shipping. But according to Cognizant's 7th annual shopper study, which is a great shopper study, which I will link to in the notes for today, 65% of people who buy online and pick up in store actually go on to purchase more items when they get to the store and they pick up their purchases. Now, who does not want a higher average sale value? So if you've been thinking about click and collect, I urge you to pop that into your marketing channel for this year. Okay, number 9, my number 9 stat is that it's not all about e-commerce. Shop fronts are still relevant. The US Census Bureau, and all these stats are coming from the US, sorry if you're in anywhere else in the world, but they're pretty indicative of the world over from what I could find. But the US Census Bureau happily announced that brick and mortar sales in the first quarter of 2016 accounted for over 92% of total US sales. So if you have a shop front, you still have an advantage. You can still use, the fact that you've got these overheads, take that and make it a positive. I know when you're thinking overheads, it's always a negative, but you have an advantage over e-commerce. You can get to know your customers. You can tailor the shopping experience. You can make them feel fantastic. And remember, if you make them feel great, they will come back again and again. Now, my last stat to make you smile is keep in touch. Remember back to statistic 1 from MailChimp and your 15 to 20% open rate? Well, if I told you around 20% of your subscriber list will open your email, I just want to reinforce how important it is to continue to grow your subscriber list. Our number 10 stat to make you smile is that 54% of shoppers actually want you to send them alerts about an offer or a loyalty reward based on their current location. 54% of shoppers want you to email them. Wow, that is huge. So over half of the people who you're likely to come in contact want you to stay in touch, who have actively said, please send me stuff. Wow, that just is the number one factor. I always say that your email list, apart from your stock, is the most important thing in your business. And those stats tell you why. You can get instant access to them. Nobody can take your subscriber list away from you. It's not Facebook. You can't just get shadow banned on Instagram. If all those things happen, if you disappear off social media, you can still go and email your customers. You can still talk direct to them, and you can still let them know what is going on in your store. So if you have not been focusing on growing your email list, I'm hoping that stats number 1 and 10 actually convince you that it is time to put more effort into segmenting your customers, personalizing them, and sending them offers that are completely relevant to what they are looking for. Now, keeping up to date with what's happening in the industry is a great way to keep your retail biz moving forward. Focus on the stats that can show you where you can potentially capitalize to make your customer experience and keep your team happy and engaged, because happy team generally means you've got great customers. So if you're listening to this live in the Bringing Business to Retail group on a Wednesday at 12:30, let's continue this conversation. And if you're listening to this a little bit later on the podcast, feel free to click the show notes, maybe look at the 7th annual shopper report, or come and talk to us about how you keep in touch with your customers and what stats make you smile. But for now, have a fantastic week, and until next week, be profitable.